Oh, wow. Look at that. You never go above the knuckle. So as you can see here, so you turn it on its side and you crush it, okay? Then all the garlic will come out. Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. The honing of the knife actually straightens the blade. That's all it does. It does not sharpen the blade. It only straightens it. I think what the Bible sometimes challenges you is like, are you giving it your all? God created you in his image to be perfect. When I'm doing a bag smash, I don't use the big side because that'll like smash through it. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? And you just let it bounce off. And it actually makes this perfect distribution. But the problem is that you noticed a lot of that salt went in my arm. So now I'm gonna shake it out. Technique with the chocolate. You want to make sure your hands are not wet or it will seize up. I'm going to put it in a clear bowl so you can see. So you do a bain-marie. This is called a bain-marie. And it's a double it's actually named after a French woman called bain-marie, melting basically gently melting products. So it's not gonna burn because you have a barrier between the pot and the pan of the water. So this is how you can melt chocolate really nice. And what you wanna do is make sure you cover it though. Kids all over the house, family, and they're all over the place. And it's starting to get to where, annoyingly, I'm filming every Friday and like they can't get it in the fridge, they can't do the things. And my hope is that the family will be like, it is time to get a filming studio that you bring this to and you don't film out of your house. So secretively, I kind of want that to happen. Okay, so we got our melting chocolate going. Let's see what that says real quick. Jeremiah. This is using that gentle heat. 8:51. Jeremiah 8:51. And here we go. Jeremiah 8:51, 31:3. 31. It probably would be easier if I just looked it up on my phone, but it's so much better holding the Bible. 31:3. The Lord appeared to us in the past, saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have done you with loving kindness. I will build you up again, and you will be rebuilt, O Virgin Israel. I mean, what is not more everlasting love than chocolate? Like seriously, like God is love, chocolate is love. I mean, who doesn't love chocolate? You can start to see that it's starting to melt like a little bit. You can see the chocolate's getting glossy. So I'll turn this heat down and then we'll move on to like the next stuff while that's happening actually. So I'll actually move it to the side so I'm not blocking any of the views. But we want it to still be on, but low heat. And then we'll check back with that. Maybe we'll dip some chocolate strawberries. We'll make that for dessert. Rob would like that to go home probably. Okay, so herb storage. Berry washing. So let's get some berries. Let's get some fresh herbs. So we got blueberries. We got strawberries. We got, let's see our fresh herbs that we have. So it is winter time now, so my herb garden is starting to diminish, and that's okay. But I've got a few. I've got chives. I've got fresh garden thyme. I've got oregano, which I know my oregano might be still good out there. And fresh dill. I know that's not going on in the garden anymore. That's more of the summertime. So we got our fresh herbs. And then how to care for herbs. Really, that's what I really wanted to show you guys. So if you use a cup and then herb storage, so Psalm 1:3. I was gonna show you too, like I actually have a ton of sage out in the garden and I have a dehydrator. I picked it up at Aldi and it's got like 8 layers on it. And I'm gonna go pick all those sage leaves and put them in there and dehydrate the sage leaves because dried sage is incredible. So I'm definitely gonna do that. So you could do that as well, but if you've got the fresh stuff, then this is a method you could do. So herb storage, Psalm 1:3. So let's go to Psalm 1. Psalm 1:3. Okay. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. I went into verse 2 because I was honestly like, I don't know how that relates to herb storage, but I think storing up, like, you know, what you're doing in your soul, in your communion with the Lord, reading the Bible. I think this really is about protection too, and storing that up. And so here's what you can do with your fresh herbs. So if you do get these in the market, if you put these in the refrigerator, they'll go bad pretty quick. But if you actually just trim just the bottom, just enough, basically it's like a living flower, right? So you can snip this and basically put it in like a bouquet. This is what I do a lot of times. Snip it. Right? And you could even do the chives. They're already snipped. And then, you know, all this could go in my chicken stock. And then generally what I'll do in the refrigerator is you could do a couple things. You could put a Ziploc bag over the top of that to prevent it from the air like hitting it with a rubber band. I've done that before. Or you could do just a damp towel over the top, just so that it's not too harsh in the refrigerator, and just like that. So that's one way to keep your herbs nice and fresh in the refrigerator, and just pull from it whenever you need it. And I promise you, it'll last like 2 weeks in there. It's stay nice and fresh. You could do it on the stove top, or I'm sorry, on your countertop as well. But I have found that if you don't refrigerate your herbs, they will tend to go bad on you. Put your berries in a bowl. And you know what? I'm not gonna do this one because I saw it and I was like, I don't really like it. So it's a berry washing technique, and it says use vinegar to rinse it and then dry fully. Maybe the vinegar takes off some of the, if it's not an organic berry. I have heard that strawberries are one of the worst if they're not organic. They have a lot of pesticides on them. So you know what? Actually, I'm kind of, as I'm saying this, I'm sort of correcting myself. I did not buy organic berries. I generally don't because they're more expensive, but it is giving the method of adding a splash of vinegar to it. So maybe there is something there. So if you are somebody that this resonates with and you care about what you put in your bodies, I think washing your berries with a touch of vinegar. Oh, I have apple cider vinegar. That'll be just as good. So let's try it. So just a splash of vinegar, probably a little more than that. And then wash it. Maybe it, you know, we can't see what it's doing, but you know what? Actually, as I think about it, I know that my wife, a lot of times, she learned a pesticide-free way of cleaning our floors is actually with vinegar and water. So she'll sometimes clean our floors without any chemicals and just use some vinegar, and actually the vinegar smell goes away and you get this nice clean aspect. So if this resonates with you, I don't do this, but here's a cool little technique. And let's see what it says about berry washing. So Psalm 51:10. 51. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. I mean, I think that makes sense. Like, you know, cleaning, washing, a pure heart, sanctifying, washing your blood away, or your sins away with God's pure blood. Amazing. Washing the pesticides, the gunk that's in our lives. Let's see if we taste apple cider vinegar. Now, we did the peeling, the ginger. We did the herb storage. So we didn't talk about the cutting board stability. So I know we talked about it, but we didn't touch on it. So you can see here, I have a giant cutting board. This is actually a filming one. So it does move a little bit, but here's my cutting board with a little paper towel underneath it. And I'll just show you the difference. So as you can see, look how loose that is, right? I mean, I'm barely touching it. And then if you just put a little paper towel down and you want to make sure that it has enough surface area, then boom, it's definitely more sturdy. It's not going around, so that's good. And that's important. Like when you're holding that knife, you don't want this cutting board moving on you or you could cut yourself. So let's see what it says about the stability of a board. So that's in Matthew. The wise and the foolish builders. Ooh, this is a good one. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. It goes on to say, the rain came down and the streams rose and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because of its foundation on the rock. Let's make sure we get some paper towels underneath our cutting boards, people, so it doesn't move around, it doesn't get unstable on you and make it unsafe. So now let's go back to this chocolate real quick and see what's happening here. Because I got those strawberries, they're washing. Okay, look at that. So whisk it, melt it. Now this is perfect because we want our strawberries to be dry before we dip them in chocolate. So I'm gonna just dry them just a little bit more. And then this is not quite melted, but it's almost there. But the beauty of this is I get to lick the chocolate. Oh, wow. Rob's gonna love that. Okay. We'll continue this chocolate now that it's warm. Let it melt a little bit more. Toasting spices. Always toast your spices. It makes it so much better. So in this example, you could toast your peppercorns before you put it in that wonderful pepper grinder that you're gonna get. Wow, they just keep coming. Like, I actually had a chef, he made us always would toast the pepper before we would actually, before we would grind it. And I would always say to him, why are we doing that? Don't we just sear it? And he goes, no. A lot of times when you're putting things with pepper, you're not searing it, like a fresh salad. So obviously with toasting it, it brings out the aromatic of the spices. So you certainly could add all kinds of spices and stuff, but it's definitely make sure that when you do toast your spices, you're using whole spices. So like, I'm just pulling out some examples here. I've got, let's see, do I have cloves? I've got aloe. So these are like a mini pepper. You could toast that. This is the star anise. This is a beautiful licorice taste. I'm sure a lot of you have had fennel seeds before, so these are really great. So if you toast your spices before you grind them, they really will bring out more flavor and in the end make your food taste even better. So as that's toasting, and we're gonna start to smell it, I'm starting to see a little bit of the smokiness to it. Let's see what toasting the spices is. Timothy. So Timothy, is it 1 Timothy? No, 2 Timothy. 13:57. 13:57. 1:6. Love that. Do you smell it yet, Rob? Yeah. For this reason, I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power, of love, and self-discipline. I see that, like the fan of the flame, like, so like, don't be afraid to like go forth and like make things a little bit better. Like if you can make this just a little bit better, why wouldn't you not do that? Look at that. Oh, I saw a little spark. There was like a little bit of a spark. You can see the smoke. You see it? That is crazy. Okay, now I'm gonna turn it off. That's exactly what we want. And then I'm gonna put this back into, you gotta be careful though, because the seasonings, oh, here, you can't see that way, can you? Oh, you can see? So I'm gonna put it back in here, because obviously, if I try to get that into my pepper grinder, now I'm not gonna add it hot because I don't wanna ruin my awesome pepper grinder, so we're gonna wait just a second. But while that's going, I think we could do our strawberries. So what we wanna do is take a plate. We wanna take our beautiful berries, because this is a bonus. This is not really anything. This was a part of the chocolate series. So we're gonna remove this. Okay. Then you definitely wanna give it another whisk. And for the honor of the whisking that we talked about, let's use, since I can't find my little whisk, let's make our little whisk out of a fork so you can see how that works. Look at that. Okay, but do not forget to lick it. Now, to make the chocolate covered strawberry, you pull the stem, make sure that the strawberry is dry, because if you don't do that, your chocolate's gonna seize up on you. Then you pull it, let's get that out of the frame. And you dip, 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 drizzle. We'll set one beauty right there. Dip, 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 dip. One beauty there. Love that. Yeah, you could do, we used to do too, white chocolate. So we do the same thing. And then we would put the white chocolate into like a little squeeze bottle or a little piping bag. And then you could actually do a couple of things. You can make tuxedos with it by basically dipping on one side like it's like a tuxedo, and then do little white dots to make a white suit. Or you could start with the white chocolate and then do the dark chocolate, so it's a dark chocolate suit, which is more classic. But I don't have that. But why not make a beautiful chocolate strawberry as a bonus, especially for the season coming up, right? And then you never want to put these in the refrigerator. You always want to leave these on the counter, and you want to eat them that day, because if you put those in the refrigerator, what happens is the water will start to leach out of the chocolate, and then it ruins it. So now it's created a really beautiful barrier on those chocolate covered strawberries. Look at those, those are beautiful. All right, so we'll reserve that. And then cutting peppers. So I know we did that. Vegetable ribbons. Let's do a plate drizzle here real quick. So anytime you're doing like a sauce or a steak or something, You know, doing a drizzle can be really cool. I've got a few options here. I've got my red onion balsamic. I've got a normal balsamic. They're both really thick. So you could take like this piece of steak, right? Let's say we've got this. We got some baby romaine. So if you wanted to make a nice, beautiful steak salad, you could take these beautiful lettuce greens right there. Fan that on there. And then let's read what the drizzle is. Psalm 90:17. Psalm 90:17. Wow, look at that. I landed right on Psalm. I landed right on 90, but 89. There we go, there's 90. 90:17. May the favor of the Lord our God rest upon us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. I love that it said establish the work of our hands twice. And I really was like thinking, I really want to make this nice. Now, I'm going to actually cut this little part right here off. And the reason for that, and then with this beautiful steak that is still absolutely delicious, I'm going to slice it. It's like a perfect medium. I love that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fan this right over the top of that lettuce. So this could be a nice little steak salad. Well, I'll eat that a little bit. I don't want to eat it all though, because Rob will be very, very upset. Yeah, my lemon olive oil. Yeah, let's do that. So a little lemon olive oil over the top. See, I'm drizzling. Then this balsamic, I'm gonna use the other one because mine is not that thick. It's a little more runny, so I'm gonna use a reduced balsamic. So this is a reduced balsamic that you can get. And then you drizzle, right? So when you're drizzling, going back and forth in that motion and really get all of it. And that looks beautiful. And so like, that's a great plate presentation. Now, this was his point about the peppercorns, right? Whoops. Now they're bouncing all over the place. I didn't do a good job creating a funnel with my hand. You know, funny story. One time we had this house that we were worried, we had rats in it. This is actually in Seattle. And we really had rats, we had a rat problem. And then when we moved to Texas, I was doing this toasting spices thing and I would drop little peppercorns around the kitchen. And my wife was like, we got mice, we got rats. And I picked one up and I'm like, nope, that's a peppercorn. So we got our pepper in here, and obviously I definitely want to get some of that fresh pepper right over the top. And then I think this is perfect for that flaky sea salt. And we'll just drizzle a little bit right over the top of that steak. So there you go. The drizzle is key. Now, even with this plate's kind of like curved in, so you can see that it's starting to kind of like drip in. So I would recommend a flat plate so that doesn't happen, but the drizzle is nice. You know, if you're making ribbons of vegetables, okay, now I feel bad, like I should not skip that red pepper, but I think I will just because we've already done it. And time-wise, we want to kick through it. Okay, so we need a peeler, and I have another one here. So this is it, people. This is ribbons. So you could do this with all kinds of vegetables. So you could make, you know, vegetable noodles like this if you don't have one of those Japanese mandolins, but this is your ribbon. So this you could cook, right? You can eat squash like this raw though. So sauteed like that, that's awesome. Like we could do that. And then let's see what it says real quick about ribbons. Exodus 63. You know, my Bible will be a little gummed up here, which I don't mind. Exodus 35. So We gotta get to 35, 35. He has filled them with the skill to do all kinds of work as craftsmen, designers, embroiderers in blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen, and weavers, all of them master craftsmen and designers. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like taking something, you know, that's huge and making something beautiful out of it. Like, I will tell you though, I have this memory. One time I did it with carrots, and we were making a salad, and I remember my mother-in-law and my wife both said, "I love that you did that with the carrots, but it actually just looks like carrot peels that you put into our salad." And I was like, okay, I feel that. I still like it, but I get that. But I think that if you did this with different colors, and then you certainly like made it like a nice little vinaigrette or something with it, I think, you know, I think it'd be interesting. Like, I think it'd be a nice little salad, especially fresh. Like, let's just prove my point. So if we went like this and we toss that together, and we put this aside, and then we take some of this, let's take some of this bell pepper, right? Just like that, beautiful. And then let's put a nice little bowl, right? And then what we could do is we could take this and we could make a little salad out of it. Little olive oil. Let's go with my strawberry rhubarb vinaigrette, which is amazing. Or actually, it's just a vinegar, strawberry vinegar. Let's use the big, huge barbecue tongs. Just toss it together. Put that right on the salad. And you could eat this like as a nice fresh salad, right? That's a wonderful side. So that's one way to do it, or you could cook it, but I love that. Let me see what it tastes like. That's fresh. I like that. Now we're into the carving of the turkey, which is awesome. So I have, isn't that nice, right? Here is a roasted chicken that's been resting. Look at that beautiful thing. I put some sweet potatoes. I put some onions in there. Those are cooked too. So, you know, I wanted to like do prep at the same time. So carving a chicken is Isaiah 30:20. 771. Whether you turn to the left or whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." This is the way to carve a chicken. I'm gonna show you right now. Okay, so first thing first is, before we do that, let's look at the thermometer. So this is a digital thermometer. When you are cooking your product, chicken needs to be cooked to above 165. So now you can see that it's at 143, but I will tell you that I already temped it. It actually got to 170, and so it's been resting. So I know that it's safe to eat, but it's still nice and hot and juicy, which is great. But generally you want to take the thermometer like in between the thigh and the breast to get that temperature, but it should be above 160. But you could cook a chicken to 160 and then cover it and let it rest. I went to 170. And then real quick, let's just read what it says about the thermometer. 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 3:01. Oh, there's. Then it went down from Janoah, Janoah. What is that? Janoah? Janoah. 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 To Alahoth and Narath touched Jericho and came out at the Jordan. I mean, I don't know what that would mean from a thermometer standpoint. So some of these are interesting, but anyways, let's get into this chicken. So I think we'll just end with the chicken. I got this torch, and this is awesome for like doing all kinds of stuff. So like a dessert is just so cool. So here, open a little sugar. Okay, slice the pineapple. Fan the pineapple. Sprinkle it with sugar. So you can do this technique for like different fruit. Obviously for a creme brulee, that's what it's classically for. But real quick, the brulee touch finishing is Hebrews 12:29. For our God is a consuming fire. Let's see.
Yeah.
See if I can crank it up. So you got to melt the sugar first. And then once it melts, then it'll start to caramelize. And what's interesting about it is it's actually like caramelizing even the edges of the pineapple because it has sweetness. There's not actually natural sugars. This would be great like over the top of ice cream, over a grilled chicken salad, or on top of a creme brulee. But that's just fun. If you don't have one of these tools in the kitchen, you need it, definitely. Look at those nice golden pineapples. Oh, those are great. I bet they're delicious too. I want to try one. Wow. That sugar like elevated it. Okay. Let's just end with real quick. So we got these little herbs here, right? So pull some of this. Then we've got a little bit of parsley. So we'll grab some parsley. And then what I do, what's cool about this is anyone could do this and you don't even need a knife. So compound butter, real quick, Colossians 3. Colossians. Is Colossians, oh that's New Testament, 13:40. And then we'll cut the chicken and then we're done. 13:40, Colossians 3:14. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. That's what this is. So I'm gonna tell you right now, this is love right here. So what I do is rip this all up. This is what's fun, is you could just hand your kids a bunch of fresh herbs like this and say, hey, rip this to shreds as fine as you can get it, right? So you could do this. Then you could take some of that microplane zester, a little bit of zest from a lemon, right? Why not? Don't want to waste this. This is a great way to do this with your butter at home. salt, pepper, freshly ground. Here we go, another reason why. Toast your pepper. Let's use the kosher salt. We don't want to go too much because I know that I've got salted butter here, but I love salt. Then what I'm going to do is cut them into 2 butters. Like when I say butter, like the usual looking butter looks like. And then I'm just going to roll it in this. We'll do both. Press them into the herbs, right? Just get it all in there. Even roll it. Go this way, that way, back and forth. Really get as much of those herbs and everything in there. That's all flavor right there. That's awesome. As much as you can, right? Then maybe I won't put that big stem into there. You could certainly chop the herbs, but having nice big chunks of herbs like that, I think is fun. And then you can put a little olive oil over the top of it, and there's a really cool little garnish, especially that you can serve with fresh bread and stuff, but we're probably gonna have it with this chicken. And then this one could actually, what you can do to make maitre d' butter, use a little plastic wrap, just like this. Put the butter on it, wrap it, roll it. Then what you do is twist the ends like this, and then this goes in your freezer. And then the next time you need herb butter, you've got this wonderful product that you can pull out and serve for the family or whoever. So that we'll pop that in the freezer and we'll use that. So then the chicken, I think we already read about the chicken, that's right. So we'll pull out the chicken. Look at those nice roasted vegetables. They're like perfectly, here you can see, I'll just show you. Here's a Yukon Gold and a sweet potato. Look at this. This is why I multitask. Look at that beautiful sweet potato, and it's like so rich and buttery. Look at that. That is amazing. That's so good. And then a really buttery rich Yukon Gold, which this would be great for a plate up, which we'll do. So that's nice. Then, okay, so what you do with the chicken here, how to get all the pieces out. So first thing I do is I pull off the wingette, so the whole wing, just like that. So, this one, if it doesn't pull off, you can use your knife and go right through the joint piece. Okay, so then you got your 2 wings. And then generally what I do is it's a wing. So I cut off and I make 2 chicken wings out of this. And you gotta ask yourself, do you like the drum or the flat, right? I love the flat. So there's 2 drumsticks. That drumstick kind of fell apart a little bit. Then what you wanna do is cut right here, and you wanna get the thigh off. So if you cut down here, it releases it, and then all you have is the breast. And then if you flip it, then what you can do is you can cut here, and it'll release the thigh from it, just like that. And then you can cut the thigh from the drumstick, like that. And then here, this one fell off. I'm cutting this little part right off. And same thing here, go through the drumstick and the thigh. And then I cut basically down here, and there's the bone of the chicken right here. And if you keep slicing, then it'll pull off, it'll release it from the bone, just like that. And there's a nice breast, and then you do the same thing on this side. Look how steaming hot that still is. And then obviously that goes into the stock, but you could pull, if you missed any of the chicken off this, I generally will pull that all out, even the wishbone. I'll pull apart all this chicken as much as I can, even turn it, get some of that back meat muscle. It's all cooked, it's good. make a little shred. That will go in our stock in a little bit. There's the wishbone. And then what I do, this is where I use my my slicing knife, my bread slicing knife. So, because I like the skin on it, so I'll saw through and leave the skin on this. What's that? Oh, okay, we're almost done here. Now, look at that, and then you can fan the chicken. Just like this. Wow. And you can put this on a plate, right? And then generally I'll serve, you know, like the thighs like this. I might take the drumsticks and put it this way, put a little mound there, and then you could put the wings over here. And then obviously on the plate, you could have a little bit of the potatoes on the side and just serve this on a nice big platter. And generally I'll finish it with a little sprinkle of salt, right? And in this case, then you could even finish it off with some of that herb butter, like rub it, which is absolutely delicious. And then the best part is grab one of these, break it off, give a little piece to Rob. So good. Okay, that concludes. Hopefully you picked up some tips and tricks that you can use in your cooking. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.